dear Joanne, dear friends, participants of the forum organized by Economists, thank you very much for this invitation. This event takes place in the shadow of threats in several war and crisis hotspots in the world. We rightly ask, as this forum also asks, are we seeing the end of the war in Ukraine? How much worse can the situation in Israel get, and how close are we to the entire Middle East going up in flames? Could there be an escalation on the situation in the north of Kosovo? The real answers to all these questions should be given by the moderate and progressive forces in the world, and it is necessary to have those solutions and answers as soon as possible in order to dominate over the radicals and extreme populists. What we have remembered and preserved as experience is that dialogue, diplomacy, acceptance of the other's arguments, and compromise remain the only means of reasonable conflict resolution. From a regional perspective, we have repeatedly convinced ourselves that the Prespa agreement is the true example of the power of diplomacy and dialogue. It is a useful example for many other open questions. As past and present leaders of countries, we owe it to the citizens to solve problems, maintain peace, and create conditions for development and better life for all. Achieving agreements that bring peace and stability requires clear vision and faith that the problems can be solved. But endurance and persistence are also needed. Like the current conflict now, like the war in Ukraine, the conflict in Kosovo, as well as Israel and Palestine, the Prespa agreement aimed at overcoming the past filled with mistrust and laying the foundations for building a common future. Success in such engagement is not guaranteed. But what is most important in such situations is to keep alive the will to reach a solution through dialogue in moments when there seems to be completely different views. This is how I and Alexis Tsipras acted at that time. We have accepted that we will not avoid them, but will face the difficult questions and find solution. And so it was. The solution was found through dialogue, mutual understanding, and willingness to compromise of both sides. North Macedonia became a member of NATO, and the Prespa agreement brought us one step closer to the European Union, and membership negotiations are ongoing. Greece is not only not blocking us, but also helping our accelerated integration into the European Union as the strongest partner. In the name of that friendship, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Prime Minister Mitsotakis, who accepts the Prespa agreement is deal done, and who, with his and Greece's leadership, represent an exceptional factor of stability in the region. Very quickly, the Prespa agreement was recognized as a model for resolving complex misunderstandings and conflicts. Peace and all other agreements reached through dialogue are catalyzer for change. Inspired by this approach in 2019, the President of Serbia, the Prime Minister of Albania, and I, that as the Prime Minister of North Macedonia, initiate the Open Balkan Initiative. We have a sincere intention to transform the region from a zone of conflict to a zone of friendship and cooperation. Regional connection has opened up new perspectives and opportunities for economic development, for a common future for our peoples. Albania, Serbia, and North Macedonia have signed several multilateral and bilateral agreements for the realization of the basic rights for the free movement of people, products, service, and capital as part of the planned benefits for greater regional cooperation and the promotion of connectivity between the countries of the Western Balkans. With togetherness and with inventive solutions in times of global crisis, we can transform the Balkans into a zone of peace and stability. I remain completely dedicated to encourage the process of cooperation in the Balkans, also to other countries of the Western Balkans like Kosovo, like Bosnia and Herzegovina and Montenegro. Before I finish, let me address a few sentences that influence of third malicious parties in the region. I'm thinking about all of the influence of Russia. Russia, even before the military aggression in Ukraine, is leading another special hybrid war for influence in some regions. The Western Balkans is one of those regions of special interest to Moscow. But despite all the attempts that are supported by strong financial and other means, our region shows continuous resistance to these influences. Of course, this is also possible due to the enormous support of NATO, the European Union, and the United States, with whom we share the same democratic values. This is why we, the advocates of freedom and democracy, are determined that we remain strong and together in supporting Ukraine in the war of values until the final victory. What connects us is the resistance to the totalitarian matrix. The unity of democratic or modern forces must have prevailed. That is why the coalitions and cooperations of progressive forces is imperative for us. Yes, we are facing a new era of uncertainty, but that should not discourage us. On the contrary, it should encourage us to be ready for a battle for a friendly and a fair balance in the world. Thank you.